Kevin, the loss is still fresh, but you kind of have an unknown future coming over the next month. How do you kind of expect that to play out, and when you'll start thinking about it?
I mean, we just lost like 30 minutes ago, so I haven't even thought about it. I'm just, embracing my teammates, and just reflecting on the season. I think about that stuff. I don't know when, but we just lost an hour ago, 30 minutes ago, so I don't know.
Can't blame KD. They're not quite ready to talk about his future, but he does become an unrestricted free agent this summer. Stephen A., where does he end up?
I have no idea. And like I said to you before, I don't particularly care. Let's be clear. The best scenario appears to be him staying right where he is, staying in Oklahoma City, signing a 2-year deal with an opt-out after 1 year, so he can be there 10 full years and be in position to sign for $228 million next summer when he'll be a free agent at the same time that Russell Westbrook would be a free agent. Trusting in Sam Presti, who's proven to be an elite executive as far as I'm concerned. Trusting in Billy Donovan, who's proven to me that he can coach on this level. Trusting in the infrastructure that already exists there, because I challenge anybody to tell me what's wrong with the Oklahoma City Thunder's organization. I had the pleasure of meeting their owner, Clay, last night, Skip. I've seen him on many occasions, but last night was the first time, I ever made an official introduction. But the man cuts the check. He has a lot of faith in his team, and when you look at what they've done in terms of having a future at a franchise, I mean, what's missing? I don't see what's missing. But in the event that Kevin Durant elects to leave, as I reported before the season began, which perturbed him to some degree, L.A. Was an option. He bought a home in Los Angeles. So did LeBron, by the way. So they was talking about the possibility of being a Laker. I know that the Miami Heat, in the event that they can't get LeBron to come back, have their sights set on Kevin Durant. I know that the New York Knicks and Carmelo Anthony in particular have been trying to woo Kevin Durant for quite some time. That could be a possibility. He swears up and down that, according to my sources, no way in hell he's interested in going home to the nation's capital in D.C., but Ernie Grunfeld not only hired his former coach Scott Brooks, who is believed to have a really good relationship with Kevin Durant, but also Ernie Grunfeld and the Washington Wizards, Ted Leonsis and those boys, paid Scott Brooks $7 million a year. So one would believe that it has something to do with his relationship with Kevin Durant and his belief that somehow, some way, that can assist in getting Kevin Durant. He's going to have his pick of the litter. He's one of the top 3 players in the world. He can average 28 in his sleep. His worst season was last year when he only played 27 games, and he still averaged 25 a game. This brother is lethal on a major level. And if you have a point guard who knows how to run a team, then that would make Kevin Durant even more valuable. But as far as I'm concerned, the best situation for him would be staying right where he is in Oklahoma City. Because as far as I'm concerned, they have all the requisite pieces. They've got young guys who are ultra talented, who are all signed. Enes Kanter is signed. Steven Adams, you got to sign him, but that's not this summer. That's next summer. You got Westbrook. He's signed through next season. You've got the pieces in place, but it remains to be seen what Kevin Durant is going to do, and I wish him luck.
I hear you. Here's my take. After what I saw last night and what I've heard now for the last 3 years, I believe Kevin Durant will leave this summer from Oklahoma City to points unknown. I have no idea where. This is a guess on my part, though it's an educated guess. I'm going to say this again. Kevin Durant routinely gets frustrated playing with Russell Westbrook. He likes him very much personally. He doesn't love playing with Russell Westbrook. So to your point, the only thing that I could see that would keep Kevin in Oklahoma City beyond money is that Sam Presti soon presents Kevin with a point guard option, like you said, a Mike Conley Jr. or some, who knows what could happen. But I'm going to remind you, there's an extra new $1 billion of cap room that's going to be spread around this league this summer. So anybody, I was listening to Brian Windhorst on your Mike and Mike show, and Wendy was making the strong point. Hey, anybody who wants Kevin Durant can make room for Kevin Durant. Any team. Don't rule anybody out. So there are a lot of moving pieces here. I don't know, would he want to join forces with a Chris Paul? And you say, well, how could that happen? Well, I could give you options because it's doable if there's desire on all parts. And yet, I'm going to remind you, even though you make the case, obviously, if it's just about dollars and cents, you sign a one-year deal to stay in Oklahoma City, then you recommit after next year, and you max it out. You got the sun and the moon in Oklahoma City. But you also have Russell for one more year, if not 5 more years. So my point to you is, as you pointed out to me earlier in the show, Kevin Durant is approaching his 10th NBA season. He will play next year at age 28, which in NBA years is starting to get up there. He's in the middle of his prime, but he's not at the first of his prime. So I know for a fact Kevin badly wants to win now at any cost. And he makes $300 million reportedly on his Nike deal. So I'm not sure this is going to be all about dollars as much as it's going to be about what makes sense to Kevin. Where can he win the quickest? You might criticize him. A lot of people might criticize him and say, you're running from that. You've got to run here or there to join forces with him or him. We saw LeBron do it, and you made the point yesterday. He had other problems, other issues that he was facing in Cleveland when he left and took his talents to South Beach. But I think Kevin, if the right opportunity arises, I don't know, I'm not wishing for this, but it could be San Antonio. Heck, in the end, it could even be Golden State. It could be somewhere where he just says, I want to be part of that because I want to feel what it feels like to win a championship. That's just me.
Well, let me tell you this. First of all, you just beat San Antonio, number one.
Yep.
Secondly, Golden State, one could legitimately argue you lost to Golden State because of you.
You could.
So if you beat San Antonio, and one could argue that you lost to Golden State because of you and how, you made some mistakes. Obviously, Russell Westbrook made a bevy of mistakes as well down the stretch in Game 6. It wasn't just Kevin Durant. But, again, the expectation is with Kevin Durant. We all assume that Russell Westbrook is going to have a mental hiccup at some point in time. You don't anticipate that Kevin Durant will be incapable of doing some things when it counts most and playing differently than how we know him to play. He was looking for himself in Game 6 and 7. You're Kevin Durant. You're a superstar. You're supposed to know yourself. You're supposed to find yourself in a game like that. So you legitimately are the reason you didn't win in Game 6 and Game 7. And so how is it that you're going to be the reason, or a big reason why you lost to Golden State, obviously a big reason why you beat San Antonio, but then you're going to go to one of those two teams? That doesn't make any sense. To me, the only move that would make sense if Kevin Durant wanted to really, really leave is either go to Miami because you're the future of that franchise. You would be the future, or go home to D.C. because there's nothing wrong with anybody going home.
No.
Outside of that, you stay in OKC. But again, he can do what he wants. We all know this. And what I was always told throughout the season is that if he didn't win the chip, he was looking to go elsewhere because, again, when you think about future opportunities as it pertains to the business of basketball, when you're not seen and recognized as a champion, it hurts. It hurts you marketing-wise. It hurts you image-wise. It hurts you legacy-wise. And even though the money may not indicate it, in the end, it's a reality. And by the way, it's a reality that not only he needs to grab a hold of, Melo does as well. Because you know how much I love me some Carmelo Anthony. I'm sick and tired of his behind getting paid, and he ain't winning. He needs to waive that no-trade clause, get the hell out of New York, and get with LeBron in Cleveland or Chris Paul in L.A., or somehow get Kevin Durant to come to New York so he doesn't have to leave. But Melo just sitting back and accepting his subpar circumstances is really beginning to grate my nerves, to be quite honest with you.
Okay.
It really is.
All right, so back to Kevin Durant. Why would he keep repeating the same cycle? Why would he say, okay, I keep failing with Russell for whatever reason, maybe my fault, maybe his fault, maybe co-blame. Why would I do it again next year? What if they lose to Golden State in 7 again next year because Russell creates or commits a record number of turnovers in the Western Conference Finals? You'd say, Well, that's the definition of insanity. You know, you just keep doing it over and over again, and nothing gets changed because everybody sits back and says, you're so talented. You might have the most talented team in the NBA. It doesn't work. And at some point, Kevin has to accept this doesn't click for whatever reason. My fault, his fault, our fault.
You're right, but let's remember that they were up 3-1. They were within 48 minutes of an NBA Finals.
Yep.
And we certainly weren't talking about Russell Westbrook in that regard prior to, you know,
yep.
while they were up 3-1. So let's not completely sneeze and dismiss Russell Westbrook. This dude was an league MVP candidate as well. This dude is on another level himself. It's just that when you're talking about the elite, the very, very elite of this game, Kevin Durant's ability can rival anybody's. But the problem is he doesn't close. Mm-hmm. And when you don't close, particularly against the elite, then you have second-tier status in the upper echelon category. And that's where Kevin Durant is on this particular day, because I'm here to tell you right now, no one will ever forget that meltdown in Game 6. That's going to stay with Kevin Durant for a very, very long time.
Okay, and last quick point. Russell Westbrook had 4 turnovers in the last 139 of Game 6, so I'm not going to forget that either, just for the record.
Yeah, I'm just saying that it's,
okay.
I'm just saying that it's predictable with him.
All right.
You knew that that's possible with him. 2 of those plays, Skip, was him inbounding the basketball.
I know, yep. I agree.
It's a given.
They forgive, but they don't forget.
You expect more from Kevin Durant.
All right, Stephen A., you're doing my job for me. He brought up closing. So Steph Curry doing what he does, obviously, last night. The man so clutch. But where does he rank all time amongst closers? That is the discussion next. Another hour of First Take coming up.
That's about.